Well, good morning, good afternoon, or should I say good evening, depends on when you're watching this video, as this is distance education and students are on it all the time. Welcome to CIT 217 Security Plus in Distance Education for the Spring 2019 semester. My name is Professor Steve Alpern, and I'm going to be your instructor for this course, all right? Well, you may ask, how come a video? Well, I make this video with 2 points in mind, okay? Number one is it gives me an opportunity to introduce myself in visual, so you can see me, as to the instructor who will be on the other side of that distance education course that you're taking. We will be communicating a lot in email on Canvas, and I think it's important that you know who's out there. Unfortunately, I don't have a chance to see who you are other than know you by name, because we continually email ourselves throughout the course, and that's our means of communication. But at least you do get to see who I am. And if you see me around campus, of course, you can stop me and say, hey Steve, I'm in your distance education security course. All right? Now, what about the second purpose? Well, the second purpose is really important as well, because this is going to give me an opportunity to talk to you about how the course is run. Now, I assume that several of you, or most of you, have already taken some distance education course. I know I've seen some names in the listing of some students that were in my course before, so you kind of know it. Maybe you were in a in-class course, maybe you were in a distance education course, maybe distance education is all new to you. So this is a good chance for me to tell you how this particular course will be run in distance education, okay? And that's really important. All right, so first off, is the course hard? Well, it's not easy. I'll tell you right now, there's a lot of material in the course. And what do we need to do, what do we need, and what do you need in order to run the course? You're going to have to buy something which we call Lab Sim or Test Out. All instructions about how to buy it will be up on, in an email for you. You can buy it from the bookstore, you can buy it directly from the people that provide this material. And what it is, a web application which you can open up on your computer. It will give you videos about Security Plus. It'll give you a database of questions, not many, maybe 500 questions or so. It's a lot. Well, there's a lot to this course. It'll have a lot of simulations that you can work on, and it'll give you some demonstrations. Now, as far as the labs that are part of that, I think that a lot of them are not necessarily due. Some of them beyond what you really need for this particular course. And so it's very important that initially when you go out, there are 3 documents that you're going to have to get. One's going to be the assignment and the schedule. This is this document. It's a lot of pages, about 20 pages worth of assignments and documents. One's going to be the syllabus. Bam, I got the syllabus up here. And another one, which is a really important document, is going to be a summary of everything you got to do in the course as far as your testing and times and things like that. And all 3 of these documents are attached up on Canvas, and you can download them, and I would suggest you print a copy. It's going to basically tell you what to do, okay? So you need to get a hold of that, and the reason is that when you look at that document, and one of them, the assignments, is going to say, look, this one, you don't have to do this. This one's optional. Don't get caught up too much in the labs that they give you, the simulated labs. They're not really great, but you really want to do is make sure you can understand the videos, the presentations, and the things that I say are optional, you don't have to do. And there's a lot of things I'm going to say that are not required. You don't have to do it all, okay? So that's why those documents are pretty important for you to get a hold of, okay? So with that, let me talk a little bit about the grading and how the course is basically structured, okay? When you go up to Lab Sim, there's going to be basically 8 chapters of solid material. Those chapters are listed in my document I'm looking at here, like security basics, procedures and awareness, physical security, perimeter defense, applications, etc., okay? Each of those chapters are going to have attached to it a knowledgeability exam. Well, let me go to a different direction. Let's talk about the exams first off, okay? I think that's a better approach. In this course, you're going to have a midterm exam worth 180 points, a final exam worth 200 points, and a total of 8 of these knowledgeability exams that cover each of the chapters, worth a total of 20 each for 120 points. The total point score for the course is 500 points. For you to get an A, you need 450 points. For you to get a B, you need and above. You need 450 and above. For you to get a C, you need 350 and above. All of this is outlined for you in the syllabus. Now, what happens if all of a sudden you're doing this whole course, you finish the whole semester, and all of a sudden you come up with 440 points? 440 points to B. There's no homework, there's no lab assignments, there's no extra credit. So how do you get up to 450 if you're short by 10? Well, I've added on 2 bonus exams. They're really important to you. And the bonus points will be points that will be added over and above the total points that you got for your exams. So, for example, if you got 440 points and you had a bonus exams worth, let's say, 15 points, you'd end up with 455 points, which is your A. Okay? So that's how you get to your A. Take the bonus exams. Now, as far as the exams are concerned, they all have cutoff dates. You have to hit the cutoff date. If you do not hit the cutoff date for an exam, it is a 0. Okay? If you don't hit the cutoff date for the midterm or the final, it is a 0. So I'm stressing that these exam dates are very important to you. Now, I'll tell you right now that all the exams are structured so that they end up being on a Sunday night. So let's say, let me look at the sheet. Let's say your first exam is on basically Chapter 2, which is Security Basics, okay? That exam is due on 10 February. That's getting pretty close, so you got to be sure you get this material. On 10 February, you'll have a knowledgeability exam, and you have to hit that exam, which is on a Sunday. In fact, all exams are on a Sunday except for the final exam, which is on a Saturday, and the last Saturday of the course. So be careful about that. Now, once you open an exam, it's up to you to take the exam within the time frame set. The knowledgeability exams, you know, they only cover one chapter, so it's pretty easy. Or some chapters are long, some chapters are short. Sometimes, so there's a lot of material in one chapter or one area. Procedures and awareness, maybe it's a little bit less, but perimeter defense, maybe it's pretty big. So it depends on the chapter that you have, and the number of questions could be anywhere from 20 to 30 questions. The time limit is normally 20 minutes, could become less. Why less? Because they're all open book exams. Where do you take the exam? You take the exam at your home. You take the exam, go up on the internet, you'll see the exam up there, you'll click on the exam, take your exam. Now, one thing to keep in mind, you cannot go up to an exam, start an exam, and decide you're going to go out and have a beer with your friend. Once the exam starts, it starts until it closes. Now, why am I saying such a, crazy thing? I've had students come up to me in the middle of an exam. They went to the airport to pick up their friend. They went to meet somebody. And then the exam closed out. They said, can I retake it again? I said, no, you can't take it again. It's done. Or you forgot. You can't forget these exam cutoff dates. So you got to remember those dates. You need to read that material I give you. You got to look at that. Okay? Now, where do the questions come from for the exams? They come from the database of questions that are both on LabSim, test out that you're working with, and also I will have up on Canvas a number of questions that you can work with. So I take the questions for your exams from that database of questions. Again, you have open book. You can look up everything. That's why your time limit, that's why you're limited a little bit more on time. So you need to know your material. If you're going to certify, you really want to know this material. If you're not going to certify and just want to just know this material, well, you still got to know that material. Now, one thing I did in this course to make it easy for you is I broke it down into 2 sections. The midterm, which is the first section, the first number of chapters that we have, once you take that, you can put that information aside, and then you'll take the second half of the course. In other words, I have not combined a final exam which covers the whole course. Midterm covers the first half of the course, final covers the second half of the course. That should make it a little easier for you if you just want to just get in this and you're not worried about the certification. If the certification, then you got to look at the exam type of questions that I put up for certification, and I will talk a little bit more about this in 2 other videos that I have linked up there, or will be linked up there. One is going to be a video on how to maneuver around Canvas and what you should be looking at, and one's a video which I'll bring you into test out and talk about a couple of key terms and key things that you should know in test out. Not repeat them here, but I'll repeat it in those other 2 videos. So make sure you do take a look at those other 2 videos, okay? All right, what else is there here? Well, there's a couple more things that we're going to talk about. What happens if you're running the course and all of a sudden you find, you know what, this is too hard, or I don't have any time, or I have other issues, and you want to withdraw. The withdrawal of this course is up to you. You have to go to the registration to withdraw. As instructors, we cannot withdraw you from the course, okay? So it's up to you. Now, what about, you got a problem and you want to meet with me? Okay, right now I'm in my office here at Charleston. I'm normally at Charleston on Wednesdays. I'm here normally on Tuesdays and probably Thursdays as well, but the best way to meet with me on an issue that you're having or whatever it may be, and you want to discuss something, is write me an email and kind of let me know when you're going to be here. I'll tell you when I'm going to be here, so make an appointment. That's the easiest. Now, since we're talking about email, that's another critical thing that I have a hang-up sometimes with some students. You have some emails that I've already sent to you, and one of those emails, and we're going to be using Canvas for email, okay? So when you want to communicate with me, you got to use Canvas to communicate with me, and then I normally get your response within 24 hours. You get a response from me, probably less than 12, because I check it very often. I have a lot of courses that I'm running in DE, so I have to check it often, okay? So you have to look at your Canvas email once in a while, like a couple times a week, to find out what I'm telling you, if I'm telling you something. Now, for example, when the exams come up, I'll go back and say, hey, by the way, Harry, Tommy, I noticed you haven't been doing a lot of work in test out. How do I know that? Well, when you come into test out, I can see the amount of work you're doing. So it's very important that you maintain your work. Distance education is not that easy. It's up to you to do it all. I've set it up so it makes it very convenient for you, but I can't run the whip on you and say, hey, make sure you do week 1, make sure you do week 2. Because every week you have a certain amount of material you have to do. And when you go into LabSim, if you haven't seen it, there is a lot of material in LabSim. There's a lot of material to cover. Now, assuming you've taken Network Plus, because mostly if it's a requirement, then look, let's face it, 50% of what you learned in Network Plus is going to be repeated in this course. What about the OSI model? Hey, we had that already. What about TCPI? What about ports? What about protocol? We've had that stuff already. What about the attacks? We've had some of them already. What about cryptography? You've had some of that already. We're just going to go into it a little bit more deeper into it and push it out wider and covering a lot more area, okay? The certification is not an easy certification, by the way, if you're going to do it. But again, I've given you the questions that you need in order to try that certification. Okay, you know what? I think I covered most of the important points I wanted to cover here. I think it's important, let me go over a couple of things here. I think it's important that you get those documents I showed you before. It's up on Canvas. In the first email I'm sending to you, I ask you to tell me you're in the course, because I have no idea you're in the course until you respond back to me in an email and say, hey Steve, I'm in the course, my name's Harry, or my name's Joe, or my name's RD, whatever you want to say, and get back to me. And then I'll respond back to you, okay, I got your email, great. Tell me a little something about yourself. Why are you taking this course as well? I always like to know that. I keep track in a record of the emails that are coming in on a separate thing to know that you've been talking to me. Sometimes I get students, they don't say anything. Then all of a sudden, 8 weeks later, they say, well, here I am. I said, well, that's 8 weeks late. I need to know you're in here quickly. I send emails out a lot. You got to look at the emails. I'll send attachments to emails. I'll send other information all through Canvas. Okay? First thing you want to do is get that syllabus, read that syllabus, look at the emails, and get this material, get the LabSim as soon as possible, because, again, those exams come up quite rapidly. I'm looking at them on my sheet here now. Again, the summary of assignments, this one sheet here, really important one because it lists it all out for you. Okay? Have we ever had any students miss exams? You can't believe how many students say, I forgot. I don't accept I forgot in this exam. So it's up to you to remember. If you forgot, it's a 0, and you don't want to lose points on 20 knowledgeability points and things like that. Okay? All right, with that, I think I'll stop here. I think I've given you kind of a broad approach to it, the course. This is really, if you're into cybersecurity, I notice a lot of you are. If you're into basic security and you're going to go forth, this is basically the foundation of all that security. You want to really try to understand the theoretical aspects here. There's not a lot of labs to work with. I mean, you're not going to do a configuration of a switch or a router. You don't need to do that. You just got to know the security implications of the switches, the routers, the hubs, things of that nature. What are we worried about? What are the types of attacks? What can I do against those attacks, okay? And I have plenty of questions for you to work with that I have up on Canvas. And also, by the way, when you go on Canvas, you're going to see that I have listed some videos as well. There's supplemental videos. You don't have to look at them, but if you get an area that you say, hey, I want to look a little bit more about what I'm saying on attacks, you can go look at it from there as well, okay? The more practice you do on the exams, the better you're going to do in this course, and also the greater your chances of actually completing your certification in Security Plus. All right, that's it. If you see me around campus, be sure to say hello, tell me you're in my Security Plus course, and I hope that the objectives of this course meet with what you want. Got any problems, get back to me as soon as possible, and I look forward to getting that first email from you to let me know you are in this course. Welcome again to Security Plus, and I'll see you around campus. I'll say goodbye now. Bye.